Alright, in this video we're going to look at a second example of solving a quadratic using the quadratic formula. Alright, just like the previous video, we're going to start with setting this quadratic equal to 0. I like keeping the coefficient on the x squared as a positive, so I'm going to try to move the 4x minus 2 to the other side of the equation to join the x squared. In order to do that, I'm going to start by adding 2 to both sides. And I'm going to get x squared plus 2 is equal to 4x. And then also going to subtract 4x from both sides, getting me x squared minus 4x plus 2 equals 0. Now step 2, we move to identifying our a, b, and c. In this problem, a is going to be 1, b is going to be negative 4, and c is going to be positive 2. Now we have what we need to set up our quadratic formula. So we get x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c. And then in the denominator we get 2 and a. Okay, just like the previous video, I'm always going to start with setting up the form and then filling in my values. So everywhere there's a b, I'm going to put negative 4. A is 1, so I'll put a 1 here next to the 4 on this side. And in the denominator, and then finally c is 2. And from there we can keep going to simplify our problem. Okay, in front of the radical, negative 4 is simply just going to become positive 4. Plus or minus, that doesn't change. I need the number that goes under the radical, so in the calculator I get parenthesis negative 4 squared minus 4 parenthesis 1 parenthesis 2, and I get 8. And then 2 times 1 in the denominator is going to be 2. And then square root of 8 doesn't work, so I can do the tree method to see if I can simplify it. I know that I can get 8 by multiplying 4 times 2. 4 further breaks down to 2 times 2. And I can't go any further. I see I have a pair of 2's and a single 2. So this is going to simplify to 2 square root of 2. So in my equation, I'm going to change it over here. 4 plus or minus 2 square root 2, all divided by 2. And then the 2 in the radical doesn't change, doesn't get affected by anything. This one right here. But the other 3 numbers can all be simplified. 4, 2, and 2 can all be divided by 2. So I'm going to do that to get my final answer. I'm going to get 4 divided by 2 is 2, plus or minus 1 square root of 2. But remember, if I have a 1 in front of it, I don't have to write it. 1 square root of 2, all divided by 1, but because I'm dividing by 1, I don't have to show that. So this actually just simplifies to 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 as an exact answer. So remember, this is the exact form. If I want the decimal form, then I need to go to the calculator for that. Math, left, enter. I get 4 plus the square root of 8, all divided by 2. I get 3.41. Alright, so as a decimal, I get 3.41 from the calculator. And then if I want to find the same thing with the minus sign, and delete the plus and use a minus in its place, and I get 0.59. Those are the decimal forms. These are estimated. Estimated. Because we're rounding those decimals. And there's another example of how to solve a quadratic using the quadratic formula.